morning. This is AGPS TV, and I'm here to take you through the English section. Today we are going to talk about one aspect of English language, that is literature. Literature is one of the aspects in English language in which children or students find it difficult when it comes to literature questions. So today we are going to talk about literature. When we say literature, literature is a written or oral artistic values and experiences of other people. That is the oral artistic values or experiences of other people. This means when we study literature, it helps us to study lives, deeds, that is the act or behavior of other people. In poetry writing, we use different language, or we use figurative ways. When we are writing poetry, we use figurative ways. That is the figurative language. When we use the figurative language does not have the same meaning as its original or its actual meaning. The meaning is different from its actual or same meaning. So this meaning or this figurative language is what we call the figure of speech. We call it figure of speech. Figure of speech. What is a figure of speech? What is a figure of speech? When we say a figure of speech, it's a language in which its meaning is different from the actual or the literal meaning. Its meaning is different from the actual or the literal meaning. That is when the word means literally, that is what we know the words means. In literature is different. Example, we can say the lady is a town helper. The lady is a town helper. Here we are using the figurative, the lady being compared to or has been the trait of a town helper, meaning the lady is a prostitute. We don't want to use prostitute because it sounds unpleasant. So we want to make it look pleasant. So we say the lady is a town helper. And this is a literary device or a figure of speech called oxymoron. Again, we can have the king has kicked the bucket. The king has kicked the bucket. When we have the king has kicked the bucket, we don't want everybody to hear the king is dead. So that is be unpleasant. So we want to make it look pleasant. Then we use the king has kicked the bucket. That is the euphemism. We are using euphemism. The king has kicked the bucket. That is euphemism. Again, so all this what we say today, we are going to learn the literary devices. This takes us to the literary devices. We have so many literary devices. We have the flashback, we have paradox, we have hyperbole, we have onomatopoeia, we have suspense, we have flashback, we have point of view, etc. But today, we are going to talk about one of them. We will discuss actually four, but we will start with simile. When we say simile, simile is the comparison between two things. Usually it's between human and animals. Usually it's between humans and animals. We use the word as or like, as is being displayed on your screen. So we say simile is the comparison between two things. usually between human and animals, using the words as or like. We must note here that we cannot compare two same things. We cannot compare two same things. The things we are comparing must be different. When I say two same things, example is Kofi is as good as Kwame. Kofi is a human, Kwame is a human. The as is there, but we are not using that as simile because simile must take two different things all together. It must take two different things. So when you're comparing the same thing, that is not simile. We have some examples on the board. The first example is she sings like a bird. She sings like a bird. Here we are comparing how the girl sings with that of a bird. We are comparing how the lady sings or how the girl or the woman sings with that of the bird. So the like there is the like there between the girl and the bird is what we call simile. We have human and a bird. So that is what we call simile. Then we move on to example 2. We move on to example 2. He is like a statue. He is like a statue. We know statues do not move. Statues are placed at one position. And human beings, we are mobile because we move. But here, we are comparing how the person is to that of a statue. So he is like a statue, is a simile, is a simile. Then we have an example 3. Looks like a yellow plastic. Looks like a yellow plastic. Here we are comparing the looks of that of a yellow plastic. That is when you read Sandy, Debbie, and Pepe, the bird was being compared with a yellow plastic. That is the beak of the bird was being compared with a yellow plastic. Then we move on to example D. Example D. His beard is as white as snow. His beard is as white as snow. We are comparing the person's beard with that of a snow. How does snow look like? Snows are white. So his beard being compared, that is, he has a very white beard. The beard is white. So his beard is as white as snow. Again, when we read the dilemma of a ghost, when Ilele said, I know I'm not good as your folks. I'm not good as your folks. When he said that he's comparing herself to Ato's family. She was comparing herself to Ato's family. That's why she said, I am not as good as your folks. Please, so if you have any comment, you write it under the comment section. If you didn't understand anything about the simile or anything about simile, you write it under the comment section. Again, the assignment for simile is you read the chapter 1 and 2, or you read page 1 and 2 of Cockerel, that is Sandy, Debbie, and Pepe, and you give me all the simile that can be found there. The simile that can be found there. You write it under the comment section. We move on to another literary devices. We sometimes do comparison, but with this comparison, we don't use like or as. We compare two things, all right, but we don't use as or like. So when we are using this, that is when we are comparing directly without the use of as or like. We call it metaphor. It's another type of literary device. So the second literary device we are going to talk about today is metaphor. Metaphor. So what is a metaphor? A metaphor is the comparison between two things without the use of like or as. As is being displayed on the screen is the comparison between two things without the use of like or as. That is when you're comparing two things without bringing in as, without bringing in like. When you are comparing two things without bringing in as or like. So we will first take our first example My sister is an angel. Here, the sister is being compared to the trait of an angel, the character of an angel. So here we are comparing two different things. That is an angel and a human being. So my sister is an angel. We are comparing it, but here we have no as or like. The same to example 3. Kojo was a lion in the fight. Kojo was a lion in the fight. So we are comparing how lions fight with how Kojo fought that day. How lions fight and how Kojo fought that day. So Kojo was a lion in the fight. We are comparing them, but here we see no as or like. We move on to example 3. The world is a stage. The world is a stage. Let's cast our back mind to auditorium. That is when a theater, when we are watching a drama. When we are watching a drama, you see one character will move for the other character to come. So in this world, some are born and some are dead. Some will die, some will be born. So that is why we are comparing how human beings live on earth with that of a stage. That is when a drama is being played. So the world is a stage. That is human beings, some will live and others will come. The third example is life is a box of chocolates. Life is a box of chocolates. We are comparing life and chocolates. So if you have any comments or any questions under the comment section, you write it there. And if you like what I'm doing, you give me a thumbs up. Okay, so today we have learned we are moving on to the third one. We are moving on to the third one. That is, when something has the attributes or the features of human, when we are giving attributes of human or features of human to animals or ideas or non-living things, we have it a name in literature, and that is personification. That is personification. What is personification? It's giving human features, that is the characters or the traits or the physiques of a human or attribute to non-human objects. When we talk about non-human objects, we have animals. Animals, we have cats, we have dog, we have tiger, we have bird, we have lions. We have abstract concepts, that is the wisdom, the knowledge, we have love, faithful. All these are abstract concepts. Then we have inanimate things. That is when we are talking about non-living things or nature, like water, like trees, like chairs, like the schools, like bananas, like the food we eat. All these are inanimate things because they cannot breathe or they cannot walk. So we will have our first example, a finger of banana. A finger of banana. Here, human beings have fingers. Human beings have a finger. No other thing or no animal or no concept or inanimate things has a finger. Only human beings has a finger. So here, a finger of banana, we are giving the trait or we are giving the features of a human to the banana. We are giving the features of human to the banana. That is a finger of banana. That is when you take one finger or when you take one of a branch from a banana. We can also have our example 2. One of the table's leg is broken. One of the table's leg is broken. Human beings have legs. Human beings, we have legs. Tables do not have legs. So when we are giving the feature of a human to a table, we are taking it from the literary device. It's called personification because we are giving the feature of a human to that of an inanimate thing. That of an inanimate thing. That is the leg of a table. Then we move on to example C. The robbers are dancing. The robbers are dancing in the air. Human being dance. Human being dance. Robbers do not dance. So when the wind blows and the robbers are floating or flowing in the air, we call it the robbers. In literature, you can say the robbers are dancing. That is giving human trade to a robber. Then the flowers were begging for water. The flowers were begging for water. Flowers are inanimate things. How can an inanimate thing beg for water? Human beings beg for something, not what or not inanimate things. So here we are using flowers, taking the trait of a human being. That is, the flowers were begging for water. Again, you read the ripples in your cockerel. You read the ripples in your cockerel. Then you bring out personifications you can find it based on the examples and the explanation I have given. So you bring out some of the personification you can find it. If you have any comment, you bring it under the comment section. Then the last one we are going to talk about is when we are using two opposite words. When we combine two opposite words. When we say opposite words, that is when we are talking about the antonyms. When we are talking about antonyms. Example, we can have happy, sad, scarce, plentiful, and so many others. And so many others. When we are using these words, we call it in literature oxymoron. We call it oxymoron. We call it oxymoron. Oxymoron is the use of two opposite words for the purpose of contrast. The use of two opposite words for the purpose of contrast. That is when we are combining two opposite words to make a meaning. Two opposite words to make a meaning. That is when we talk about oxymoron. We have our example. She gave them a good scolding. She gave them a good scolding. Good, we know, is an adjective, and scolding is a verb. So when you are being scolded, you are being shouted upon. So how can you be shouted upon be a good one? When you are shouted upon, you frown. But here we have used the good and scolding. When we are using these two opposite words together, we call it oxymoron. So she gave them a good scolding. That is what that takes us to George and his brother when they were fighting. The mother came out from the hut, then he gave them a good scolding by holding their ears. We move on to the second example, that is B. B. He is a living dead. He is a living dead. Someone who is dead cannot move. Someone who is dead cannot move. So when we are using someone who is alive and someone who is dead, we call it oxymoron. He is a living dead. He is a living dead. That is the two opposite words, living and dead, being put together. Then our next example is a queer's pregnancy is an open secret. A queer's pregnancy is an open secret. Open, everybody can see. Secret is private. So when we combine these two words, opposite, open, and secret, that is two opposite words together, we call it oxymoron. Then the last one is they entered the cold kitchen. They entered the cold kitchen. Cold, we know when it's getting to winter, we'll be shivering a bit. Then the kitchen, everybody know kitchen is hot because we cook there, and cooking we use fire. So cold is being used with kitchen. That is when we are using these contradictory words, we say is oxymoron. This is where our lesson ends today. Today we talked about figure of speech. We talked about figurative uses and the literary devices. Some where we talk about simile, comparing two things, using like and as. We talk about metaphor, using, comparing two things without as or like. We talk about personification, giving human attributes to non-living things. And the last one we talked about oxymoron. That is when we are using two opposite words in literature writing. This is where our lesson ends today. We will be here same time Monday. So catch us live. Thank you. Bye.